2 minutes. But on one side of that, we make room. Let me give this a good mix. And that is our beef and rice chili. Welcome to my channel if you guys are new. Welcome back to my channel if you guys are a returning subscriber. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a heap of meal prep stuff that you guys can do for one person or double the ingredients that I'm using and make it for multiple days. I'm making 5 days worth of lunches for my husband, and each day is going to be a different kind of meal prep. So we have 5 different foods to get through and cook today, which is a massive project to even think about doing, but it is currently 4 o'clock. It's getting late. He's got work tomorrow and I need to get this on ASAP, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first food that we've got, I'm looking at it right now. I've got 5 recipes on my computer all saved. I've just went grocery shopping and got all of my ingredients, but the first one is sweet potato beef skillet. Let's get into it. I'll show you the ingredients. What you're going to need for the first recipe is 130 grams of beef mince. I just formed them into patties and froze them like that. And then you just need 1 medium-sized sweet potato, half a onion, 5 grams of shallots, these are just frozen, 3 medium-sized garlic cloves, 1/4 of a bell pepper, a dash of mozzarella cheese, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes, and salt and pepper to taste. Now let's get on to the cooking. I've got our little pan over here. Please don't mind the scratch marks in there, it kills my life. But we want to pop our beef inside and just mush that up so we can turn back into a mince. And while this is browning up in there, we will cut our vegetables up. Let's move all these bad boys aside. The first thing we want to do is dice up our sweet potato. We are going to boil them up, but in my case, because boiling will take a little bit longer, I'm going to steam them in the microwave. Pop a little bowl handy over here. Pop a little bit of water into this, cellophane wrap it, and then pop it into the microwave for about 5 minutes. So while they are steaming, my mince is cooking. We are going to chop up half an onion. Leave the other half for another recipe. You are definitely going to need it. And then let's get rid of that skin over there. That is done. Next, we're going to chop up our 3 garlics. You can do these either minced, you can do these diced. My husband likes the garlic in mini dices because he likes to taste it. So that's how I will prepare his one. And then we will get our 1/4 of a capsicum. Take the other half out, leave it for another recipe. Pitch the capsicum. Okay. And then slice and dice these as well. There we go. Now let's just prepare our seasonings. Get our 1 teaspoon measuring over here, and then we set 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, just like that, 1/2 teaspoon of the chili, and then 1 teaspoon of the cumin. They've almost cooked, so when they're slightly just a little bit pink, if you can see, then we'll go ahead and add in our onions, and then our garlic, and then the green peppers, or the capsicum. Give that a good stir all together. I know that meal prepping can be hard, so I just wanted to create food items that's number one, healthy, number two, homemade, that you don't need to spend over $10 on each dish, because let's be honest, every single meal prep out there that you can buy ready-made or is a service that gets delivered to your house, each little carton of food is literally over $10 or $9.95 at the very least. So I just wanted to create everything that's under $10, let's be honest, under $5 to be exact, per serve. And these foods I've tried and tested with Ned before, and he absolutely loves them. I've tried it myself and I love them. And yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an insight into what I get up to on a weekly basis. If you guys want more macro-friendly recipes, I do have a macro-friendly ebook that is always linked down below, and a Simply Air Fry Me ebook that again is always linked down below. And other than that, on my Instagram, I've got tons and tons of recipes, meal prep videos, everything that you guys can check out if you guys want to. And if you're not following me on there, this is my Instagram, it's linked down below as well. But let's get back into the sweet potato. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like, don't forget to share it with your friends and family, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you guys have any video suggestions, don't forget to leave them down in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next 3 days. Bye. Okay, now that our sweet potatoes are done and our beef is cooked, they're all perfectly steamed. Ooh, hot. Being very careful, you want to go and add that with the water that it's steamed with. We'll just create a nice sauce. Perfect. Look at that. All right, next step is to add all of your seasonings. Give that a good stir, because there is extra water and olive from the beef, oil from the beef, without kind of like mushing your sweet potato as much as you can. And that meal prep is done within 15 minutes. Let's serve this up. I have these meal prep containers from Kmart. They do come in half, like you do get a separation in some. There's some circle ones, there's like 4 compartments, 2 compartments, but I personally like these ones. That's what I'll be using for this video. I'll turn it that way so you guys can see better. All right, let's go and add her in. And then on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and add some shredded cheese or mozzarella, depending on what you like. Just a tiny dash. I've got some light mozzarella. And then furthermore, on top of that, you want to go and add your little scallions or your spring onions. That looks incredible. And there you go, my friends. That's meal number 1 all done. Okay, I'm sorry about the lighting once again, but the next dish is our Mediterranean rice bowls. I am making it with beef because that's the main kind of meat that my husband likes. You can change this up and use some chicken or even some fish. It just depends on your preference. It depends on what protein sources you like, but always make sure you have some micro and macronutrients and a carb source in every single meal, which is what you will be seeing in this video as well. Just trying to portray a healthy, balanced kind of eating lifestyle. But let's go and do our Mediterranean rice bowls, and I'll show you the ingredients right now. Now, totally up to your preference. You can use a yogurt dressing, you can use a ranch dressing. That's what I'm going to be using today because I have one already sealed. But other than that, you guys can make a yogurt dill dressing. Just use some Greek yogurt, pop a little bit of dill, salt, and a tiny little dash of cucumber dices in it, and that'll be it. But I'm going to keep this so I can use it up and not waste it. That's my yogurt done. A quarter of a green capsicum diced up. Let's spice the colors up a little bit. We're also going to be using a quarter of a red capsicum and a quarter of a yellow capsicum, a quarter of an onion for the beef mince mixture, and then a quarter of the onion for the rest of the garnish on top. You're also going to need some feta to garnish it with on top, and also a little bit of hummus on the side. 125 grams of beef mince. You're going to need half a packet or 125 grams of cooked jasmine rice. We're going to be using the other half later on. In this meal prep video, you'll see that I'm trying to use up things that I can use and not waste like any food items. So that's what I'm trying to show you guys as well, so you don't have minimal wastage and you can use up everything that you have at home. Then for my herbs and spices, you're going to need a quarter teaspoon of cumin, a quarter teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and 1 teaspoon of dill. All right, let's get into it. Pan is all clean. I'm going to first dice up my onion And then we'll dice up our green capsicum, and then let's dice up our yellow capsicum, then 1/4 of our red capsicum. And then we'll heat up some olive oil in the pan, just a little dash will do, and add the vegetables in. And then let them saute while you get everything else ready. I'm gonna leave them fairly crunchy and raw, so that's how they look right now. And then let's go ahead and add in our beef mince. While that's all cooking, go ahead and add in your 1 teaspoon of dill, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and then a dash of salt to your liking. And give that bad boy a good stir and let it cook for a further 2 minutes, just to make sure that beef is all done. Oh, it smells like turkey, like my country. We are ready to plate up, except on meals like this where he needs to have his yogurt on top of his food and all of that, I make sure I add it in the notes that I'm going to write for him as well. So as you can see for this one, I have that ready over there. Then I will write it over here. So this one was a sweet potato beef skillet. So he can choose what he feels like to eat on the day. And then pop that on top of it. Some call this a little too over the top. My husband's very picky. It takes this to make him eat vegetables and good food. That's what I will do, girlfriend. Mediterranean rice, beef, and ranch on top. Okay, let's plate this bad boy up. I know my kitchen is disgustingly messy, but that's what happens when you meal prep. Our beef mixture. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add half the jasmine rice in there as well. Just like that. And then on top of that, we are going to pop in our onion, fresh onion. He loves his onion. On one side of that, we make room for our ranch. And then on the other side, we shall make room for the tub of hummus. Our last little thing is the feta. And little garnishes of feta on top. And then that's our second meal prep done under 15 minutes. A Mediterranean beef rice bowl with ranch and hummus. As you can see, the ingredients in my bag. The next meal we have, or the next meal prep we have, is a beef rice chili. Ricey beefy, I don't know what to name this, but usually for chili, minced chili, beef minced chili, people would either use beans, black beans, cannella beans, butter beans, or red kidney beans, or they would use sweet potato. But in my case, because I already have half a packet of rice opened as my carb source, that's exactly what I'll be using to use up all of my ingredients in one meal prep video, or show you how to use up efficiently and not waste any food items. So let's get into it. Let me show you the ingredients. Okay, what you need for this recipe is half a packet or 125 grams of jasmine rice, 1/4 of a red capsicum, 1/4 of a yellow capsicum, 1 tomato, 1 whole onion, a small one, 2 garlic cloves, 125 grams of beef mince, a tablespoon of olive oil, a lemon wedge to serve, and then for my spices, salt and pepper to taste, half a teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Let's get into it. First up, we're going to dice my vegetables. Okay, first up, we dice the onion. Just before I forget, you're also going to need some jalapenos for the top of this recipe. Now, your veggies can be coarse in this meal because it is a chili. We like it thick and chunky in chilies. So my onions. Next up is my yellow capsicum. And then we have deep red one here as well. And then lastly, our fine ripened tomato. If you don't have fresh tomatoes, half a can of crushed tomatoes will do too. The first thing you want to do is fry all of these veggies up. 1 spoon of olive oil. Next is our onions, yellow capsicum, red capsicum, and then tomatoes, all in the same go. And then you want to add in those 2 garlic cloves. I'm just chopping them up really coarsely right now, a little bit like that, and add them into. And then give this a good mix. Pop the lid on so they can all marry each other. And Bob's your uncle. Wait for it to cook for 5 minutes. Alrighty, now that that's all cooked, you can tell by the tomatoes that it's all cooked. The quarter of the lemon that we had, well, the half of the lemon, I chopped it into a quarter. I'm going to add the juice of butt into there and add in the 125 grams of beef meat. Pop the lid on for another 3 minutes till she cooks. Alrighty, when that looks a little bit like that, you want to go ahead and add in the 125 grams of jasmine rice. Give that a little stir. The rice will soak up all of that liquid that's come off the tomatoes and make it taste really good. Once that is all done, over here we have half a teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of crushed chili, and then 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. That's going in. And that'll flavour her up. And that is meal 3 done. Let's plate her up. We have our bowl over here. This can even serve for 2, by the way, but my husband obviously eats for 2. And like I said, you can make this with beans, you can make this with sweet potato, you can make this with chickpeas, any sort of carb sauce. Now on top of that, we have some grated cheese. In my case, again, I'm using my mozzarella. And then to garnish it, we have some jalapenos. And 5. On the day, I will pop him over some avocado on the side, but for now, we are just popping a lemon wedge. And that is our beef and rice chili. Yum. Okay, my loves, the next recipe or meal prep that I'm going to make is called, well, I named it, a Lazy Girls Lasagna. It's a pasta bake, but lasagna in the oven for 10 minutes. It's so great and so easy. Okay, the next part of this video is going to be a voiceover because my husband came home and he was watching the news, and that's never a great time to film and watch the news at the same time. So what you're going to need for this recipe is 90 grams of pasta, 100 grams of beef mince, 80 grams of shredded cheese or mozzarella, 1 onion, 1 tomato, 2 cloves of garlic, mayo or any other white bechamel kind of sauce, 42 grams or a quarter cup of tomato sauce, quarter of a yellow capsicum, quarter of a red capsicum, half a carrot grated, and then a quarter of a green capsicum, 1 teaspoon of Italian herbs, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. First, you want to cook your pasta to the packet recommendations. Then you want to start up with dicing your onions, and then your garlic cloves, then your vegetables, which in this case is the green and the yellow and red capsicum. Chop up your tomato into little cubes as well, and then grate your carrot. Once your pasta is boiled, you want to drain that and set aside for it to cool down. Then add a tablespoon of olive oil into the pan along with your veggies and saute them for a little bit. Once it looks a bit like that, I want you to add in your beef and then stir till that one's cooked. Next up, you want to lower the heat down and then add in your bechamel sauce along with your tomato sauce and give that a good stir. And then you want to add in your salt to taste with your herbs and your spices. Give it a mix. And then the very last step of this is to add the pasta and the cheese, mix it all up and then plate it up. I'll show you how it turns out. Lastly, if you wanted, you can add some chili flakes on top and then add a few sprigs of parsley or basil, up to your preference, and then plate that up. And there you have it, your Lazy Girls lasagna, and also it's got hidden veg in it. And then my very last meal prep that takes under 15 minutes is going to be some chicken satay pad thai, but because I don't have pad thai and we know that I'm trying to use up whatever ingredients I have at home, I'm going to use some spaghetti. Now you can use some flat rice noodles, or you can use normal noodles, or you can do it the way that I do it, and it's more macro friendly if you do it the way that I do. But let's get into it. Okay, your ingredients for this one is 50 grams of dry spaghetti, quarter of a green capsicum, yellow capsicum, a red capsicum, and then half a carrot peeled and sliced. You want to slice up all of your capsicum as well. 2 garlic cloves, 1 lime. Half of it is going to be used for the recipe and the other half is going to be used as a garnish. To garnish, some spring onion, crushed cashews for toppings, 2 tablespoons of crunchy peanut butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil or sesame oil if you have, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce or sweet soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of normal soy sauce, but I use cocoa amino sin teriyaki because I didn't have any soy sauce, and 80 grams of sliced chicken breast. Okay, first up you want to add some oil to the pan and boil your pasta. Then you want to add in your crunchy peanut butter into the sauce that you've created. Stir that up until it's combined and then set aside. Peel your carrot and chop up all your vegetables. You want the slices to be this thin, and then go ahead and do the same for your garlic as well. Again, showing you how the slices should be. Halve your lime and then set aside. Drain your pasta and set that aside as well. Again, adding oil into the pan, you want to fry up your veggies. Stir to combine, cover the lid so they can cook, and add the chicken in. Cook that through and add your pasta in. Then add your sauce in, combine, and add little dashes of hot water to the thickness of the sauce that you like it to be. I like mine very thick. And this is how it turned out. Plating it up, I just popped over the spring onions and the cashews on top, and this is how it turned out. And here are your 5 different dishes, all each individually under 15 minutes for meal prep. They're really healthy, simple and sweet. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a like. Don't forget to share it with your friends and family, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you guys have any video recommendations, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys in the next few days. Bye.